Hi, this is Danny Contreras here again with the Dr. Dan Show at the Heritage Center here in downtown Oxnard. And I have a very, very, very special guest, a dear friend. You know, his kids, his sons. I work with him at Youth Authority. And my buddy is a pioneer of basically R&B music and other types also in Ventura County. And he probably has one of the first true local bands that played actively for really, well, at least in this county, for at least 10 years, and then you played out of the county a lot of times, but played a total of 30 years, and that's a long time. But Buddy is he's a homie. He's from Tortilla Flats, the avenue he was raised, right?
Yeah, that's Avenue.
What do you guys say about Tortilla Flats, man?
Tortilla Flats is family.
Yes.
We kind of worked it a different way back then. It was basically where the whole entire community was a multicultural, and everybody was brothers and sisters. Parents was expanded family. Everything was just lovely. Very hard. Just going back into the 1930s and 40s.
Hard economically? When you say hard?
Economically, it was very hard. Right. But everybody took care of everybody, as from one family to the other, and it just was a beautiful way of growing up.
Okay, so what gets Buddy thinking he's a musician and going to have a band? What's the ignition?
Well, it actually started with my mother. She used to play, was a piano player and director for the AME Church. That was called the Community AME Church in the city. Started in the city of Ventura.
I believe there's one in Oxnard still.
Yes, there's one in Oxnard, which is a sister branch off of that. It's called Bethel AME Church, but my whole family had come up through the AME Church. I was baptized in the AME Church.
Okay, so your mom is a musician in her own right.
Yeah.
You're growing up.
Yes.
You hear the stuff. Interesting. Different things are kind of connecting. And finally, what age do you say, I got to play some music? What age?
I would say at the age of 10 and 12.
Wow.
My
That's
father,
early.
my father was a professional boxer, and world class level, and he used to be entertained with like Louis Armstrong, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, all that. He used to travel around in his spare time and go to all their dances, and he picked up a little bit of piano playing called swing.
Swing at the time.
The all ballroom swing stuff back,
Okay.
And he had a few chords he taught me, and with my mother.
At age 10?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
At the age of 10. And it's something that was a family affair. We had a piano in the house, and he'd sit down and he'd teach me a little bit. And
okay, so when do you really take off, where you kind of do it on your own?
I really took off about the age of about 18 when I was in high school.
Not earlier? It seemed like it would have been earlier.
No, it wasn't much earlier than that to actually put it together. I ended up doing a lot of writing and creating of my own songs, which put me in a different field than most. Everybody that was coming up there was getting the old 33s and a third, listening to them and playing just like them. I was in the middle where I could do that as well as write new material.
What's your best song that you ever wrote?
I think Because of Love.
Because of Love.
But
and it still exists today.
It still exists.
It's still like being played or sold.
In this area, it's still recognized. But the one that actually went kind of like around the world, actually, to different countries, was Just a Game.
Wow.
It's kind of just the opposite.
What's the next big hit? That was probably your biggest. What was the next biggest one? There's one other one I think you said possibly.
We had Because of Love, Just a Game, Session. We had a couple of others that we put down. Meet the Beat.
Meet the Beat?
Meet the Beat. That was an instrumental, yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of a catchy little tune.
We're going to go back to that because there's some political negative things that are involved with your songs and and making money off it, where you basically didn't make any money off it.
No, I didn't.
Okay, but we'll go back to that.
Yeah.
The band, at 18, when does, the band, I remember as a young kid, because I'm a few years younger than you, in 1965, was my first time I heard you guys, the Buddy Gibson And the Customs?
Yeah, well, at that time
What
it
was
was
it?
Billy Gibson and the Vanguards.
Vanguards.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear that. I heard
Yeah.
the Customs.
Well, you've heard the Customs because we had the Vanguards was the Customs that could sing and play. And then after a while, we made it the Customs, which gave an extra kick as like another show. In other words, we had the band playing, which people could hear and dance to, but we had this singing group that was going along with the band, so you had an expanded. I had 10 guys in the band playing, and I had 5 in the singing group, so that's like a lot of people.
One very interesting point. The Customs were all Chicanos.
Yes.
Chicano Americans.
Yes, yes, yes.
And people would have thought, well, Buddy, what's Buddy doing with the all Chicano Mexican band? But this is the way it worked out.
Well,
They were growing up buddies in many
yeah.
cases.
Some of them were growing up. Some of them were very polished musicians from out of Santa Coy, Santa Paula, Thousand Oaks, Ventura, and Oxnard.
They heard about you and they kind of got gravitated.
Yeah, they
to...
gravitated to us because they were very good musicians, and I was more or less. I had a little bit more knowledge in how to be administrator, and also how to actually go out and get us dances and programs, and people knew me.
Band leader,
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah.
Band leader, manager.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it worked out real well because we didn't look at each other as me being black or African American, them being Hispanic
Right.
or Mexican or
Okay.
anything like that. We didn't look at that. We had names, we had talent,
First
and that's the way
names.
we ran it.
Hey, Frank, give me
Yeah.
some help. Hey, buddy, come on. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
just
yeah,
natural.
And one of the things, the main thing about it, what people never knew, how could I keep a band together that long?
Mm-hmm.
I never took a penny more than anyone on the dance floor. I mean, in the band.
In the band. Right.
It was 10 of us. We divided it by 10. That's what they got.
That's what you got.
Now,
Very cool.
I went a lot in my pocket. I made sure we always had transportation, automobiles, refurbish of different equipment that we had to do if they couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of was in it for the love of music. They turned it into a profitable thing to where they actually was making a living at it.
The Customs? Or
Yeah, they actually made a living at it.
with you, or they went on their own?
With
you?
With my band. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
We played at very large events. I remember when we had our 30-year reunion, we had it at the Civic Auditorium.
What year was that?
19...
90s or 2000?
No, it was what years? Okay, the exact year. It was in 1994 when we had it. Yeah, 1994.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the tickets at that time, which was unheard of, was $20 a piece. We had a sit-down dinner and entertainment night, and it was a great event because what happened when everybody that I've ever played with or played around or was in the area that was a musician came out and attended that, and we put the tickets we had it at the Civic Auditorium, what is it called? Pacific?
In Oxnard?
Oxnard.
Kind of the same area?
They call it
PAC. Performing Arts
Center.
Center,
Yeah.
right.
And we had sold out the whole entire Oxnard room in 2 days, which was strange to me.
Yeah, miraculous.
And we had it was a 30-year reunion, and all my band members were still alive then. We had something like 12 of us on stage. And people came out with the second generation children, which were teenagers, to say this is what we were involved in.
All the original guys in your band, they all still alive? Or
yeah, they all were still alive.
Oh, wow.
In 94.
They're what?
Yeah, 94.
Oh, from 99. And they're not 94 years old.
Yeah,
Ding
not
dong.
94.
Okay. I was they're old. Yeah. But,
so...
are you close to them still? I imagine some.
I'm close to about 2 of them. Many of them have passed away. A lot of them are now pretty, we're up in age now. Next month I'll be 77.
Ooh.
So when
You're
you
still
look
a
at
kid.
that,
Still a kid,
when you
buddy.
look at that and you look at their ages, they're pretty settled in now. And I have one that I still keep in touch with because his daughter now is a nurse and full grown, she's in her uh, late 40s, and we see
What's
each
his
other
name?
every now and then.
What's his name? The one you're really close to.
Sammy Triana.
How do you say last name?
Sammy Triana out of Sanacoy.
Sadakoy.
Yeah, be just like our families are just like brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers.
Right.
Love this guy to death. He
Great.
was my lead saxophone player, and the other one is in Ventura, Ray Morales.
Hey, Morales.
He is a saxophone player
Okay,
too.
so music-wise, pretty much what I recollect, it seemed like after 1969, 70, I didn't hear about you locally. Were you playing more out of town, more out of county?
Well, in the 60s, what we did, we tried to go into nightclubs in the Ventura and Oxnard area, especially in Ventura had the most nightclubs, and they were union. Very strong union, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when we went to play in some of these, the union hall would come down, inspectors would come down to these nightclubs and shut us down because they said we weren't union members. However, we could still play as well as any of the union members.
I'm sure you could.
So what happened is that this happened to so many of the young groups coming up at that time. A guy by the name of Mike Flaherty, which was a drummer out of New York, which joined my band, and Lindell Quarles, which was, to me, the father of R&B in this area. He started everything.
Qualls?
Lindell Quarles.
Quarrels or Qualls?
Quarles.
Different name. Okay.
Yeah.
I know Qualls.
And we got together and tried to get the strategy together, and we decided that, let's see if we can get on the military bases. At that time, you had the Oxnard Air Force Base, Magoo Base, and you had Fort Hueneme. They had the EM Club and the Officers Club. So if you look at it, that's 6 clubs you could play at on a rotating basis. So we got our bands all together, and we decided we would rotate at the bases continuously. When our time would run out, one of our groups would go in and spend maybe 2 or 3 months, and we built up all their nightclubs. The military was very satisfied because now they could come out and hear live music, and there was a problem because they didn't have the ladies to equal the military guys.
Ooh.
So we got doing some more strategy. Said, well, we can't play at the nightclubs downtown. So when we make up some flyers, we don't play. We'll walk in, have our little drinks, and pass out these flyers, which said, if you come to the military bases on a certain night, you would hear this band, and you would be signed in, and you can meet the military. And that started a big smash. Still, that gave them 6 new nightclubs with live music. And being young, hey,
Okay.
that was nice.
So the band lasted till what year? Pretty much 70 some or 80 some?
We did. I
Somewhere
think
around
we were probably in the late 70s before we started breaking down a little bit. And normally, that was because of all of us was starting our families.
What was the biggest event that you played for that you can most renowned, most?
The biggest event I played for that I really enjoyed was for a marriage, a reception for Alice Scotto out of Santa Paula.
Scotto?
Yeah, Scotto. Yeah.
Scotto.
Yeah. That was one of the most pleasurable things because we got a chance to play R&B, rock and roll, ballads. What do you call it? Corrido?
Corrido.
Yeah,
Corrido.
corrido.
Well, I said it in English.
Yeah,
Corrido,
and we got to do a lot of that, and that was the most fun we ever had because our band really got a chance to really show off what we could actually do collectively.
Okay. But on a so-called professional basis, did you ever play any big-time things in L.A. or any other?
No,
Frisco or some other big town?
We were asked to go to get on a circuit, but the starvation of entertainment here in Ventura County was so limited that we actually dedicated ourselves to stay here. Because when we actually did our different recordings and records, that took off. I mean, L.A. was hot, Santa Barbara, San Francisco, all of these were hot spots for us to go and really be involved in big things, but we chose to stay home and just deal with the people here and let the name itself build from these things. We used to be
backtracking a little bit because I mentioned the band. There's another band when I was young. They were starting, and that was called the Amboys, and you're aware of the Amboys. And
yeah, I'm aware of the
one name
Amboys.
is my friend, dear friend John Rubius. He played the sax, and he said there was like friendly competition for dances and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and they made some recordings also. I can't remember exactly, but I think Hoptostrami was one of the ones that they put together. But
no, they didn't create that.
They didn't. But that must have been okay. That's another group,
a different group
with Corky Wilkie. I remember that. He used to play in our band. He kind of took one of our little songs over, and they made a recording and did good.
Wow, music-wise. Going back to the records.
Okay.
What is the problem? Because you made, from what I can tell, pretty good records.
Yeah.
And you end up not getting a dime. What's going on?
Well, as I understand, back then, because of our number of dances that we were getting and playing, we were very, very extremely active. The records took off, but it was, I believe there was death in the family of one of the record owners, you know, in the recording. And the breakdown, the records kind of like disappeared as far as what was going on with the company. So it just kind of went away, and I didn't realize that they were continuously selling the records off to other companies that took over, bought out the company that I started with.
They originated.
But as far as communications, they never communicated, so I had no way of getting to know what happened.
What about the contract? Wasn't there a contract involved? Or?
There was a contract in the beginning, but the contract was not binding like it is today as much. You know, they treated it like you just go into a studio and you would show your talent, and they said, we'll get back to you. Basically, that's what happened. I didn't know the mechanics behind getting to be put on a 45 record at that time.
Let me put a little background to this. And I'm sure you're aware. In general, the stars, nationwide stars, were not getting paid for their records. Big time people.
Yeah.
And that kind of follows the same.
That's the same kind of fallout.
Yeah. Incredible.
Now it's much easier to track down and keep records and things because of the technology that we have today. We didn't really have all that. You know, a telephone, a man's bond was his word, and all this.
Yes.
That's all out the window now. So,
quote unquote.
Yeah, that's out the window now. So I got caught up in that same thing because I was around when Little Richard was around, Fats Domino.
You met him?
Yeah, I used to open up at the Green.
Shake your hand, brother.
Yeah. I used to open up at the Green Mill Ballroom when they would come to town. I mean, we were their opening band to get the people into it, and then they would come out on stage and do their hour or what they're going to do.
Hour act.
And
Wow.
The Contreras twins. We had Little Anthony. All these guys would come through here, but sometimes they would come in here with a different name, just because they were under contract. You know, a certain contracts.
Probably involved money and profits or something. Anyway, it was a mess in the 60s. I mean, the performers getting paid what they were due, the royalties and all that stuff, and then the companies, the usual corrupt, one way or another corrupt.
Yeah, the way I see that it went is that if you're entertaining at the time, say you put out a record and you don't hear nothing for 3 months, and the record hits. In the meantime, you still got to eat, so what are you doing? You're performing into small nightclubs, big nightclubs, attaching yourself to another band as a singer versus a musician, and stuff like that. So you're still working and you're busy. So you don't really keep an eyesight on the mechanics behind the scene, and that's how so many great musicians and singers and promoters, I mean, you know, they just never...
Okay.
They got gypped.
Yeah.
They
Okay,
really got gypped.
let's bring it up to speed right now. And today, 2015, basically, you are in the process of doing some legal work and trying to get the royalties that are owed to you.
Yes.
Matter of fact.
Yeah.
Right?
In fact, I have a team that came out and said that they found out some things and that they felt that I should get my due, as even as far as being recognized for the contributions that I made and did, and for the reasons why I did it in the past. And they're working on that. And that group is KNS Rock Stars, which is very well known here in Oxnard right now. They're doing a lot of things with young people.
Right.
And that's one reason I was glad to team up with them. And they're going to go forward with this. And
what's the timetable? How long do you think?
I
a
really
year?
don't know.
Hopefully
well,
less
it'll
than a
probably
year.
be less than a year before they find out some great things, you know. But they've already brought me some very interesting statistics about what's going on in other countries and other states with my music that's been around for almost 50 years itself.
It's still
And
selling. You
it's
mentioned
still selling, yeah.
one country it's selling for $850 or
Yeah,
for
yeah,
one?
$850 for one single record. I understand I'm on some albums that I have to trace out because they said they are existing, and they're like $58 an album.
Wow.
You know, that's like all the old time greats, they call it, and to have my material in that mix honors me quite greatly. Yes, very honored. Yeah, flattered, in fact.
Well, buddy, I hope it comes. It should come your way. It should. You deserve it. Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I'm honored
Thank
that
you.
you showed up today, and your friend. Like I said, I knew
Very
your
good
son
friend.
before I realized I knew your sons, and I didn't realize that you were the father.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said,
A lot of people
wait,
have that.
I knew a Buddy Gibson. Well, he's our dad. What? And that was at work, right? What
Yeah.
the heck? But hey, it's all good. It's all
Yeah.
good.
I get a kick out of it, you know, because my youngest son is 51, and the oldest one is about 50. Andy's about 55,
55, yeah,
somewhere in there. And whenever I get together or I see him around, you know, it's kind of funny because nobody can put it together like that. Oh, you guys got the same last name, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the old man right there.
Yes. So hopefully, just in general, you get some moral support. Maybe people that are watching the show will
Okay.
inquire.
Okay.
Is there a contact number or something if they were interested in helping out the cause of? Would it be a contact number? What do you call it? A email address thing?
I
they
would
could-
say you're the best contact I got.
Okay.
Put the pressure on you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, but well, you can.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we can send it. There's an email for the Oxnard Heritage, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So they could send it there, the Oxnard Heritage Center.
Yeah.
And if you want, you could send it my email, which is lowercase Dr. Dan
That'd be
in
good.
Oxnard.
That'd
Dr.
be
Dan
good.
and Oxnard, yahoo.com. Any information. Buddy's a human treasure, and we got to treasure you. We got to honor you, I
Oh,
think.
thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
'cause
that.
without
so much.
you,
I appreciate it.
you were the pioneer. Yeah.
One
You're
of them, but
one of 'em, yeah.
I think I had the longevity. So
Okay.
that's the main thing, you know.
Well, I thank the audience for
Yeah.
checking this out, and hopefully we get a little response. And Buddy's still around. He plans to be around at least another 20 years. He's
I
still
hope so. That'd be
he's still
great.
a tough guy. No,
Yeah.
he's not a tough guy, but he's tough. Tough without being he's not a meanie. He's just
Yeah.
tough. All right, thank you very much, and that's it.
Thank you
All right.
very much.